Morning guys, Rich here. Today on the bench we have the Traxxas TRX4 Sport, and I'm going to talk about the differences between that and the original Traxxas TRX4. First up, the original one is currently on the Traxxas website for $459. The new boy on the block, the Traxxas TRX4 Sport, yours for $359. So I'm going to camera off the tripod, talk about the differences between these two boys. They are quite substantial, yet they're both very similar cars, as you will see in just 1 second. So when we're doing this side-by-side comparison, well, there's quite a lot of people out there that either don't own a TRX4 or don't own a TRX4 Sport, or they've got one but not the other, and they're thinking of maybe which one to get next. So I thought it would be useful to put them on the bench together and we can see exactly what you do and don't get for your money. I hope that makes sense, guys. If it does and you like this stuff, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to talk about the visual clues that the outside of the car and the transmitter give away. Obviously, on the original TRX4, you're getting a scale Land Rover Defender body. Super scale body, looks absolutely gorgeous when you first buy it, and it's not covered in scratches and stuff like that. You can get a full lighting kit to fit to it from Traxxas, which, although a little pricey, looks absolutely stunning when in place. I've not actually fitted it to this car. The keener-eyed amongst you will have spotted one major difference on the tyres on this car compared to the stock ones, which is the only visible modification I made on the outside. These are the stock tyres, the 1.9s, and this is actually fitted with the 2.2 beadlock wheels and tyres. So that's the kind of look you get into the stock car, which you'll see on the TRX4 in a second. So one of the things you're getting for your extra $100 is that super scale shell. I believe it's yours for about $65. They even do one in green for about $135. So you might want to consider, if you really like that shell, could be worth getting it, paying the extra $100 and getting that. Transmitter wise, very different on this car. You will notice the little red switch for high gear and low gear that is remotely selectable from the transmitter. Also the little switch on the top here, which lets you select whether to lock or unlock the differentials on the car. And you will also notice the little multifunctional dial on there as well. So quite a substantial difference on the transmitter on there. So hopefully that's the visual bits covered on both the transmitter and the outside of the car itself. Anyway, let's have a look at the TRX4 Sport. Okay, well, when it comes to the TRX4 Sport, immediate visual clue, you haven't got that super scale body fitted on there. You've got this pickup style body on there, which has got quite a scale look to it, but it's not as detailed scale as the Land Rover Defender body is. However, there is one big advantage this thing has. It is not carrying that huge amount of weight up in the air, so the centre of gravity on this is far lower. So whereas my TRX4 might tip over going up a slope as it got steep, this thing will beat me by a few more angles on the steepness before that begins to roll back, because of that low centre of gravity on the body. The body is reasonably tough. I've not done anything too outrageous and given it any too big a hits, as it's a car that Highway One are loaning me. But you've not got the exoskeleton over the car, so if keeping the body in good shape is important to you, you might want to consider the Defender one. But this has got a lot going for it in terms of the ability this gives the car, with it being so much lighter and lowering that centre of gravity. Also, when it's traversing at an angle, this thing way outdoes the TRX4, the original TRX4, because again, that weight, you've not got that top weight wanting to turn the car over on its side there. Transmitter wise, the next thing that you will notice obviously on here, there is just a one dial. There is no switch for the 2-speed gearbox, because this ain't got a 2-speed gearbox on there. You will notice the switch is missing on the top because all the differentials on the TRX4 Sport are locked. So that's the visual differences on the outside of the car and on the transmitter. Anyway, let me get the TRX4 back on the bench. Let's put them side by side and show the differences under the skin. And just to highlight the differences when you see them there side by side, the TRX4 body is huge in terms of the height. You've got all this extra weight of the luggage rack, and also I've removed the spare tyre. This car comes with a spare tyre set up on the back, but again, that can have a tendency to pull the car over and roll over backwards, whereas you've not got that issue with the TRX4 Sport. Anyway, let's take the bodies off and get the camera off the tripod and have a quick look inside them. And just before I get the camera off to zoom in on them, the first and most obvious thing that you'll notice is the roll cage, the bodywork holder, if you like, is huge on the original TRX4s compared to the TRX4 Sport. The good thing being is, if you buy one of the TRX4s but then you want the advantage of fitting the lower profile TRX4 Sport body, all you've got to do is remove the body pillars and fit a new TRX4 Sport body pillar on there. Okay, let's start off with those controllers side by side so we can see the visual cues on there. We've got the 2-speed switch on the front with the red one and the diff switch on the top, and on this the TRX4 Sport controller. We've got neither of those. Okay, so starting out with the Traxxas TRX4 Sport. You have got no 2-speed gearbox on this, nor do you have lockable or unlockable differentials. All the diffs are locked as standard, and I said there's just the one gearbox like a conventional crawler would have. And when it comes to switching that gearbox from low to high, on the TRX4 Sport you will note there's no micro servo on there. Just moving over to my Traxxas TRX4, you will see the little micro servo on there for switching the gearbox between high and low speed. So the other visual cue on the TRX4 is that large bodywork holder, low profile one on the TRX4 Sport. Moving on down the car, they are identical, guys, other than that. You have got some different visual cues to differentiate the Sport. You know there's little parts in red on there, everything in silver on the original TRX4. Electrics wise, they both run with exactly the same ESC and motor as each other. However, you will notice on here, with not having any lockable diffs, there is something missing from here. On the TRX4, on the original TRX4, you'll see these two little servos which control the locking of the front and rear differentials on there, and then obviously not there on the TRX4 Sport. So that is the main thing that you lose with getting the TRX4 Sport, is you're only getting the single speed box. You're not getting the ability to switch between high and low on the fly, nor are you able to lock or unlock the differentials. So it's very much your personal choice as to whether you think that differential, price differential of $100 less for that versus $100 more for this is worth it. It could well be worth it if you've got any mates to borrow one or both of them and pit them against each other before making your buying decision. I thought this video would be good, as a lot of shops have got them not even out on the shelf but in boxes, and looking at this in a box and this in a box is not really going to show you a great deal of detail, whereas I thought getting the camera off the tripod with the bodies off might show people the differences between the two in reality. Okay, turning them over, just a quick look at the underside, as you'll see, other than those red cues on the Traxxas TRX4 Sport, there is very little to differentiate, if anything at all, between the original Traxxas TRX. If anyone's keen about it, when you do a spot on that, I have brass outer portal axles fitted. That's an extra option that I fitted on there, whereas the stock cars both come with the plastic ones like that. So there we go, guys. I hope that visual walkthrough and talk through of the differences between the two cars shows you what you're getting extra for your $100 and what you're getting less for your $100. This has got, I've seen this car in action, I've been out testing it with myself just yesterday for a couple of hours. It's got an awful lot going for it. That lightweight can enable it to tackle slopes that are quite a bit steeper because the body's not wanting to pull the car over backwards. That low centre of gravity helps if you're going along a traverse. You can traverse at a fast, steeper angle with the TRX4 Sport, so that is something to consider. However, on very loose stuff, that lightweight can maybe go against it a little bit on there. I've not been too harsh in my criticism of the car on there, but that little bit of weight extra on the original TRX4 with a bigger body, etc., just seems to help keep the front wheels planted down a little bit more on looser stuff. But in big rocks, big boulders and things like that, very little difference between the two in terms of outright grip. I do love the ability, I have to say, to switch between high and low gear on this. Does it give you a little bit more flexibility? So in my mind, maybe what I would do if I was going to buy them from either one from you now, I would buy the TRX4 but go out and buy the TRX4 Sport body on there. You are getting a little bit of saving in terms of weight, in the fact that the gearbox is smaller on this car. You've not got the weight of the 3 extra servos for the 2-speed gearbox and the front and rear diffs on there. Nor have you got the potential complications on the car of any of those things breaking down. I have the 2-speed gearbox on this as needed taken apart and re-greasing twice. If left for any long period of time, the 2-speed box on this I found can rust up. So it kind of looks been used regularly, this car, to keep that gearbox nice and free. Also, I've just recently blown one of the diff locking servos, which are a little bit expensive to replace, but it should be a fairly easy job nonetheless. So that's just my personal thoughts on it, guys, but I know quite a few of you have got either one or other or both of these cars, so please do have your say in the comment section below the video, particularly any plus points or any negative points on the cars. That I'd love you to share those with people as like constructive feedback, so that people can make an informed buying decision as to which one of these two babies they might like to purchase. As ever, guys, if you like what we've seen today, then don't forget to subscribe. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the circle image to subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, then don't forget to hit that little notifications bell next to it.